Hi, Billy.
Hi.
Thank you for inviting me to your home and letting me do this interview with you for my hospitality program and marketing.
Cool.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions, just answer them, and then I will finish my project.
Cool.
Okay, so how does working in a global hospitality firm affect the ways in which you and your company market your firm to your customers?
So, I guess a little background first, right? So, my name's Billy. I work at Uber Technologies. I've been there for about a year, and that's okay. Before that, I worked at Royal Caribbean Cruises, which is also in the hospitality industry. I did global marketing for them and communication strategy. I launched new cruise ships. In my current position at Uber, I'm responsible for rider and driver engagement. So I am basically the person who controls all of the forward-facing communications that come from Uber to riders and drivers in South Florida. In reference to your question, the way that we control the... Refresh my memory?
Okay. How does working in a global hospitality firm affect the ways in which you and your company market your firm to customers?
Okay, so at Uber, which is a technology company that's been around for about 5 years, it's very different than most other Fortune 100 companies. We're the most valuable private company in the world. However, we are the only Fortune 100 company that doesn't have a chief marketing officer. And the reason is, for a very long time, traditional marketing has worked in one specific way. And at Uber, we are very disruptive. We changed the way that people get around their cities and the way that they think about transportation in general. And with marketing, we also wanted to be very disruptive. So rather than have like a central point of truth for marketing, we really celebrate the cities that we operate in. Uber operates in over 370 cities around the world, and you can imagine that the people who ride in those cities are very different. So the way that we market and how we speak to them depends on the place that we are talking to them in. So essentially, the product that you're using is the same, but the way we talk to you in that place is very different.
Similar question, this time is, how does working in a global hospitality firm affect the ways in which you and your company market your firm to your employees?
So in that regard, Uber definitely seeks out like a lot of top tier talent. But at the same time, it's really important that we feel good about the product that we're kind of asking other people to use. So we market to employees in a way that is very hands-on. We want our team members to like use the product and really let us know how it works, so that if something isn't necessarily the best for them, we know it's not the best for riders or drivers, and we go back and fix that.
How do you encourage users to, your employees to use your services?
So at Uber, we are given a certain number of credits per month, and essentially that allows us to ride for free. It's considered taxable income, so there is a little bit of a cost. But in most cities around the world, you get way more credits than you could ever spend. So it really lets you feel free to like test all the different products. Here in South Florida, we have a variety of different things that we offer on a daily basis, but then we also have really cool like specialty things that we do. And as an employee, like you kind of know about those things way in advance, so it's really cool.
Yeah. I would imagine that's a way to kind of let you know what services you provide to the customer by actually using the service.
Exactly. So it helps you be an evangelist for the brand.
Excellent. What competencies do you, as a leader of a global firm, see as necessary to succeed in the hospitality industry?
So for me, I think the number one thing is really believing in the brand that you work for. If you aren't 100% sold on the product or service or place that you're selling, people can tell. So you really have to believe in what you're doing. And if you're not, that's not the right place for you to work. For me, as far as like competencies are concerned, I think that we as like hospitality professionals really need to focus on delivering the most Oh, do we pause? Let's see. No,
Okay,
we're still going. We can edit that part out. It's fine. We as hospitality professionals really need to focus on delivering like the highest quality service that we can, and that could be anything from checking someone in at a hotel to making sure that when somebody taps a button for a ride, it comes really quickly.
What specific qualities or traits are necessary to thrive in a global firm?
So, I think
It's pretty similar.
yeah, well, I think it's a little different in that there are a lot of boutique agencies or hospitality firms you could work at. Like, for instance, there are boutique hotels all over the world that only operate within themselves, and there's a certain skill set you need there. In a global firm or at a global company, I think you have to be able to be really open to other cultures and perspectives, because the way that you do something here in the United States and the way a customer or a rider might perceive your service here is really different than somebody like in Jakarta or in Helsinki or in Tokyo might perceive it. So you have to really be able to adapt and kind of like change your perspective when times, like that you have to collaborate come up.
Okay. How many different cultures are represented in your workplace?
A lot. Just in my office alone, we have people from 6 different countries. So, like I said earlier, we have over 370 cities that we operate in. In the United States, we have our regional headquarters in Washington, D.C., in Houston, Texas, and then in San Francisco. And then we have city offices around the world. So I would say more places than not we're definitely represented.
Good. How do you handle communication with guests who do not speak English?
So as a technology company, and you can imagine having a smartphone, we have a little bit more of a benefit than somebody, let's say, at a hotel or in a retail store. So we obviously do translate into the language that your phone is in.
Right.
In cities where you are not the native language speaker, for instance, if you visit Colombia, Brazil, Chile, and you're an English speaker, you can actually use Uber English, which guarantees that the driver who's going to pick you up speaks English.
Oh,
we do
awesome.
that here in the United States as well, in cities that have a very Hispanic skewed rider base, not necessarily driver base, but cities like Los Angeles or Phoenix, San Antonio, Texas, where you have a lot of riders who are native Spanish speakers. You can use Uber Spanish or Uber English and guarantee that the driver is going to speak your native language.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How many years have you been working in the hospitality industry? I know you worked in Royal Caribbean before.
Yeah, so I think this is around 6 years now. Royal Caribbean for about 4.5, and then now Uber for about a year. So,
that's my next question. How long have you been working for Uber?
yeah, so about 1 year.
1 year.
I started last April.
Okay.
It's very different now than it was then.
What is your highest level of education?
College.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you would like to share about your experience in hospitality?
I would say that hospitality is a really rewarding industry. It's definitely a place that you can find lots of different cultures and people, but if you're really excited about being able to evangelize a brand or talk about experiences that you have with a place that you work a lot, hospitality is a great place to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
And I look forward to putting this all together.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.